is in reference to stories. It's the plural of qissa. Qasas is the Arabic plural word of qissatun.
Qissa is with that marboot.
Yes. Qissatun is one story. Plural is qasas. In the Quran, we actually have a surah called Surah Al-Qasas. It's a surah of stories.
There's also Surah Yusuf, right?
Surah Yusuf is one prophet. Like we have stories in the Quran that are named after one prophet. Surahs in the Quran. Surah Yusuf.
But in Surah Yusuf, we use the word qasas.
Yes. So at the beginning of Surah Yusuf, we have نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ أَحْسَنَ الْقَصَص. We relate to you the best of qasas, the best of stories.
Oh, no, that's
Right.
what it means.
Yes.
Oh.
So qissatun is one story. Qasasun is the plural. Qasasun. Here we have Qasas an-Nabiyeen. If you notice, the word qasas, qasasun, is a noun, but here it only ends in one dhamma. Why could that be? It ends in one dhamma here because it's mudaf. Remember, when we have a mudaf is not allowed to have what? Al, or it's not allowed to have tanween. Therefore, qasas only has one dhamma, qasasu. So the story of. If it's mudaf, there's a hidden of. The stories of an-Nabiyeen, the prophets. Nabiyeen is the plural of what word?
Prophet.
In Arabic, what's the Arabic singular?
Nabi.
Nabiyyun, right? Now when we pluralize male words, how do we normally pluralize them? We add a what? Sorry?
No, that's
Nabiyun.
Yes, Nabiyyuna. Normally it's Nabiyyuna. We add what to the end of a male word to pluralize it? We add waw noon. So Nabiyyuna should be the plural of Nabi. However, here it's Nabiyyin. Yes.
Would it be Qasas an-Nabiyeen?
Yes. Qasas an-Nabiyeen, but there's a reason for that. You're right in thinking it should be Nabiyyini, because you think that the mudaf ilayh should end in a
Oh, that's what I thought.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought.
kasra. But it's actually Qasas an-Nabiyeen. And the reason for that is when we have male plural words that are pluralized, we add waw noon to the end, like Nabiyyuna, and that is in the rafa' state. When we want to put such a word in the jar state, we say Nabiyyina, and it still ends in fatha. So instead of changing the fatha to a kasra, we change the waw to a ya. Does that make any sense?
So pretty much
That was in our Arabic 10 lessons, by the way.
Sure.
In the 10 lessons chapter, when we learned about how to pluralize male and female words, we learned that male words in lesson number 10 and in una in the rafa'at state and in ina in the nasab and jar state.
So you're saying the qisas
Yeah, qasas.
changed the yuna to you.
Yes, because it's the mudaf and the mudaf ilayh has to be in the jar state. Normally the jar state
But
is
normally
shown
with a kasra.
with the kasra.
This time we
But
took
if
the
it ends in
kasra.
una, we just change the una to
Oh, to
ina
ina, okay.
to put it into the jar state.
Okay, so it wasn't jar state.
It is in the jar state
No, it
here.
wasn't the nasab. What's this kasra?
The jar state, the jar
The
state.
jar state. Okay, it wasn't the jar state. Still is in the jar state, but we just took the kasra away and changed the
Because it's
Yes, because it's plural
Like in
masculine.
the head, we were.
So the plural part takes priority over the.
Yeah, the fatha dhamma kasra,
Mhm.
right? Because plural male words don't take fatha dhamma and kasra. They just simply go from una to ina.
Yeah.
okay.
So that was the that's why it's important that we did 10 lessons before this, because otherwise this would have just been gibberish to you.
Right.
So if you're in doubt at any point during Qasas an-Nabiyeen, during our lessons, always reference back to the 10 lessons. That's my advice, because that will be able to just help you solidify those forgotten concepts. Anyhow, this is al-juz al-awwalu. Al-juz al-awwalu means,
The first chapter. No, juz is not a chapter.
what is a juz?
It's
It's like just in the Quran.
it's like a section.
Yeah, the first part.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is part 1, and there's 5 parts to Qasas an-Nabiyeen. So you could study this with me for the next 5 years.
Is this the book?
This is the
This is the book. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
this is the one. Okay. It's mu'allif It's
Chip?
authored, yes.
Sorry, do you recommend we get this book?
You can if you want. Or you can take notes. The PDFs are accessible. This is one of the most widely studied books in Arabic by non-Arabs to learn Arabic, because given that these are the stories of the prophets, most likely these words derive from the Quran. Make sense? Right? Because these are actually Quranic ayat that are recycled, in that they're just the words and phrases are reused from the Quran in story form. It's a very, very common book. It was authored by Abu Hassan Ali al-Nadawi. He's a great scholar of Arabic who spent his whole life in the pursuit of many things. He was a mufakkir, he was a visionary, he was a thinker, he was a philosopher. He was an author of many Arabic books because one of his primary goals was making the Arabic language accessible to non-Arabs. So he authored this in India in the early 1900s, and from then this has basically evolved into one of the most famous books that teaches Arabic to non-Arabs. This is not Qasas al-Anbiya, not to be confused with another book called Qasas al-Anbiya. Qasas al-Anbiya, Anbiya is actually another plural for Nabi. There's two ways to pluralize Nabi. One is Nabiyun or Nabiyeen, like it's mentioned here. The other way is Anbiya. So Qasas al-Anbiya is another very, very, very famous book,
I have that book.
which is written by Hafiz ibn Kathir. Right? Ibn Kathir, who wrote the tafsir of the Quran. It's very famous. Tafsir ibn Kathir is one of the most common tafsirs of the Quran. That author also wrote a book called Qasas al-Anbiya. That's a hard book. This is an easy one. So Qasas al-Anbiya, its focus is to actually enable you to learn more about the prophets. This book is not to teach you more about the prophets. This book is to teach you more about Arabic. Make sense to you guys?
So is this book designed to help you with
Learn Arabic. Yeah, it wasn't designed to teach you about the stories of the prophets. This primary design is to teach children Arabic.
And is this a new book?
It's from the early 1900s. Yeah.
Early 1900s?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the book we're going to use?
Yes, this is the book. Alright, Qasas an-Nabiyeen. Doesn't have any pictures, doesn't have any colors, although it's a story book for kids. We're going to skip over the introduction. Actually, let's go over the introduction. It's beneficial to understand what the author wanted us to know about the book. He says, Ibn Akhil Aziz. He says, the son of my beloved, honorable brother. Meaning, my nephew. He's talking to you as though you're his nephew because presumably you're a child, because this is written for children. أراك حريصا على القصص والحكايات. He says, I see that you are ambitious to learn about stories and learn about conversations. وكذلك كل طفل في سنك. And every child of your age is also ambitious to learn about stories and conversations. تسمع هذه القصص بكل رغبة وتقرأها بكل رغبة. You'll listen to these stories with complete motivation and drive. You'll read these stories with the same fervor and drive. ولكني أتأسف لأني لا أرى في يدك إلا حكايات السنانير والكلاب والأسد والأسد والذئاب والقردة والذباب وعلينا العهدة في ذلك. In short, he's saying what's unfortunate in the Arab world is that when children are learning how to read Arabic and how to understand Arabic, they're reading stories about animals, dogs, cats, lions, wolves, and monkeys, and all wild animals. Children love animalistic things, and he's saying this is the reason for which he has decided to make a children's book that's actually beneficial. وقد بدأت تتعلم اللغة العربية لأنها لغة القرآن والرسول ولغة الدين. You began to learn Arabic. You began your journey of learning Arabic because Arabic is the language of the Quran, the language of the Prophet, the Messenger, and the language of our deen. وَلَكَ رَغْبَةٌ غَرِيبَةٌ فِي دَرْسِهَا. And you have this unusual passion to learn the language of Arabic. ولكن ولكن يخجلوا أنك لا تجد ما يوافق سنك من القصص العربية. And it's unfortunate that in the time that I'm writing this book, there are not many books that are suitable to your palate, that conform to what your age category needs to be learning about, meaning about your deen at a level that's appropriate to your intellect. So this book, once again, is not designed to teach you about the prophets. It's designed to match the intellectual level of a child. So anyhow, he authored this book with a few thoughts in mind. فلجأت إلى تكرار الكلمات والجمل وسهولة الألفاظ وبسط الاتصال. He says one of the main attributes of this book is that he continuously reinforces certain words by saying the same words again and again. So this book may seem redundant at times, but that's because it's designed to teach you vocabulary, and vocabulary can only be learned when it's repeated. So he's going to say the same word multiple times in multiple sentences. He's saying that the language itself, the words themselves, are designed to be easy, and the stories are expanded in they're explained thoroughly for a child's level of understanding. So, in short, we're talking about the stories of the prophets and messengers, and he starts with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and we have chapter number 1. Man, which in the Arabic language is many things. When we go over this book, I'm not going to tell you every possible meaning to a word and every application of a word. One thing that I will tell you is that whenever we come across a word that's used in multiple ways, I'll inform you that sometimes this word is used to mean this, but it has other uses as well. Does that make sense? Otherwise, if I just started here, the very chapter of the heading of the chapter, Man kasar al-asnama, I would have to spend a great deal of time going over every different type of Arabic sentence. Yes, and every implication and application of a word. So the word man, normally, as you probably have seen it if you've ever attended an Arabic class, is that it's called harful istifham. Okay, it's used for istifham. Istifham means question. It's used to ask a question. It's used to gain understanding. So, normally the word man is used not as an ism, but as a harf. Sometimes it can be used as an ism as well. That's a different discussion altogether. Sometimes man can be used as an ism, but here it's being used just as a particle in order to ask a question. So man means what? Who. Good. We have the word kasara, which is a verb in Arabic, which means he broke, right? Who? Now we're not going to translate this as who he broke. Why? Because we don't know he yet. When you're asking who, you don't know who did it. So we're just going to translate this as who broke. Al-asnam, al-asnama, al-asnama. It ends in a fatha here. Al-asnama. Al-asnama means statues. Statues in the Arabic language in singular form is sanamun. Sanamun. So they've given you the plural here, but the ism itself you should know in singular form as well. So we have al-asnama, which means statues. The singular is sanamun, which is a single statue. Why is it that al-asnama ends with a fatha or in the nasab state? It's the object. Very good. Man kasar al-asnama, who broke the idols, meaning the idols were not the ones doing the action, but the action of breaking was happening to them. So it's in, therefore, the nasab state. So that's the heading of this chapter, but we actually have a title to the chapter beyond that as well. And that is where you see number 1 right here, chapter 1. Ba'i'ul asnami. Ba'i'ul asnami. Now, Ba'i'ul asnami doesn't actually show you the harakat. Normally you will find harakat in this book except for in the chapter titles. So I'm just giving you the harakat. Eventually, I will give you a version of the book that actually has no harakat, because that exists as well, mashallah. You're going to see this.
Oh, wow.
That's what we're going to be doing later on. Okay, so I'm gonna jump from that storybook to this storybook eventually. It's the same book, but it's been typed out without any harakat.
Do people still read it with the harakat?
Yeah, they do.
I've seen like 4 different books. There are like 4 parts to it.
There's 5. Yeah, the first 4 are very common though.
You showed me 4, but then 3 and 4 are split into 3.
Yeah, they're longer. They're a little longer.
Did you find it on Amazon? Oh, PDF.
If I have it on that.
If anyone's interested in buying it, I'll send you the link for a better copy. Don't just order. Yeah, don't just order. Darussalam doesn't sell. Man kasara al-asnama, who broke the idols? Ba'i'ul asnami. Ba'i'un in the Arabic language is not sold. Ba'i'un is the seller.
Oh.
Now, before we move on, let me introduce you to the word ba'i'un. The word ba'i'un, the root letters here are ba. What else? So what are the root letters? Ba'in. Remember, there are always 3 root letters. Ba, hamza, ain is your guess from this. Okay. This word actually is ba, ya, ain. Okay, but the ya transforms into a hamza. That's a long discussion later. Okay.
I thought that was an Egyptian.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. So, the word bay' in Arabic means selling, commerce. Okay. Ba'i'un is a seller. So, just like for example, qatal in Arabic, qatalun means what?
Killed.
No, that's qatala. I said qatalun.
Kills. Kill. The noun.
No, the act of kill.
Oh,
Yeah, I-
Al-qatl. Qatlun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mean to give the ta fatha. Qatlun means killing. So what would a qatilun be? Killer. Now, what do you guys notice between the word qatilun and ba'i'un that makes them similar to
Alif
one
hamza.
another? Not the hamza,
The alif.
just the alif after the first letter, right? So for example, if I gave you a word like nasirun, what would that mean? A helper. If I gave you the word raqibun, what would that
The
mean?
writer.
A writer. Very good. If I said labisun,
The wearer.
yeah, the one who wears. If I said to you the word nazirun,
The seer.
the one who sees, right? All of these words, we call them ismul fa'il. They're just a type of noun that tells you the person who does that action.
And that's you add an alif to it.
You add an alif after the first root letter, and then you put a kasra on the second root letter, and you get an ismul fa'il. Does that make
fa'il.
Yes, we call this an ismul
So the hamza
fa'il.
is not it's just the alif that sometimes has a hamza, sometimes doesn't.
Okay.
Or just in this case.
In this case, the hamza is actually used to be a ya,
Oh,
which
okay.
is the second root letter.
So raqib wouldn't have a hamza.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Okay? So ba'i'un is someone that sells, because bay' means to sell. So ba'i'un here doesn't have tanween. We're going to say ba'i'ul asnami. If you hear that construction, ba'i'ul asnami, what type of construction does that look like to you all? Mudaf and mudaf ilayh. Very good. So ba'i'un means what again?
The sellers.
The seller. Al-asnami means what?
The statues. The seller of the statues.
The seller of the statues, or the seller of the idols.
Yeah, it's an upstate.
It's an up statement because this is in mudaf and mudaf ilayh. Make sense? Okay. Ba'i'ul asnami is the seller of the idols.
And it's in singular way.
So what's singular?
No,
The
that's
stat-
not a statue.
No, you're right. But it has a kasra, not a.
Yeah, so it's not a male plural word that's
Oh, okay, that's
pluralized
why.
with una, like Qasas an-Nabiyeen. It's a regular plural word, not an ina word. Okay.
The question
So that-
was
yes.
al-asma.
I'm sorry?
So that's
It'll be al-Asnami, that's right. The seller of the idols. Any questions so far? Wael, you're good? Okay. So we're going to start a story. We start with the word qabla. Qabla in the Arabic language is normally used in order to inform that something came before something else. It's actually a type of mudaf. I know that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense because there's no of we're going to insert here. normally when we have a mudaf ilayh, it shows ownership. But the word qabla just acts like a mudaf. When it acts like a mudaf, that means the word after is going to be in which state? The jar state. Is that what you guys see is happening in the story?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So we're not gonna, yes.
But qabla always come in the beginning then because it's a mudaf?
In the beginning of what?
Like a sentence.
No. Mudafs don't have to come at the beginning
You're right.
of the sentence.
Yeah.
So qabla acts like a mudaf. What I mean by that is it doesn't give the meaning of ownership, but the word after will be a mudaf ilayh, which means the word after will be in the jar state. So qabla ayyamin. So anytime you see qabl or ba'd, it's opposite. Ba'd. What does ba'd mean?
After.
Good. So if I see the word ba'da, I know the word after ba'da will end in what?
Sure.
Ja. Very good. So if I would say after asr, how would I say that in Arabic?
بعد العصر.
Ba'd al-asr. Very good. If I were to tell you before Fajr, how would I say that? Qabla al-Fajr. Does that make sense? In the Quran, we also have the same usage of it being mudaf. For example, لا يستوي منكم من أنفق من وين؟ What's the ayah? لا يستوي من قبل الفتح. Good. The ones who spend in the path of Allah before Fath Mecca. من قبل الفتح are never equal to those who do afterwards. Meaning the Muslims who were strong Muslims prior to Fath Mecca are always of a higher caliber in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because they sacrificed even when Islam was weird. Even when Islam was strange. They made that sacrifice. So we have that in the Quran, qabl and ba'd, being used as mudaf. You all understand the concept? The concept is the word after qabl and the word after ba'd will end in the jar state. That's what's important to know.
When you say jar state, what makes it kathira? Qabl ayyami or ayyamin?
Min.
Oh,
There's no
what does
ad.
that mean? Oh, sorry. Oh, just the ad. That's the only thing?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So qabla ayyamin is the plural of what word? Anyone know?
Days.
Yom. I'm asking the Arabic. So ayyam is the plural of
Yom.
yom. Ayyamin. So what would qabla ayyamin mean? Before days. Literally before days. Okay? So in English, how do we say that?
4 days.
Before the days.
No, it's not the.
Can't say
There's no.
that.
There's no that English.
In English, what's the way of saying
Once
that?
upon a time.
Once upon a time.
Like days ago.
Okay.
Days ago, right? In English, we say days ago. So qabla ayyamin, literally before days, but days ago. But qabla ayyamin is followed here by another word, which is kathira din. Kathiratin. Kathiratin means what?
Allah.
Many. So qabla ayyamin kathiratin means what?
Before many days.
Before many days. Or what's a more English way of saying it?
Before days many. Before many days.
That's how you talk in English? People,
Many days ago.
Yeah, many days ago. Very good, very good. So here
The same thing in my head.
Here we have kathiratin. What do you guys notice about ayyamin kathiratin? Mawsuf and sifa. Very good. How'd you notice that? Because they have the same properties? What properties?
Never mind.
No, just tell me. Give it your guess. You had the right intuition.
Oh, for real? No, but
Forget that. Everything else, what is it?
oh, okay. So both of them, I will stick with feminine.
Yeah, forget that.
They both end in tanween.
They both end in tanween, but that's not one of the things about mudaf and mudaf. So he said this is a mawsuf and sifa. I said, what do you guys notice is interesting with the relationship between ayyam and kathir? Ayyam and kathiratin. When you look at this conjunction or this phrase, what type of phrase does it look like? And he said it looks like a mawsuf and sifa. What is a mawsuf and sifa? The adjective and the thing being described. The described comes first or the adjective comes first?
The described comes
The described. What's the described here?
It's the days.
Days.
There's many of them.
Yes, okay. Ayyamin and kathiratin if they are truly mawsuf and sifa, they have to match in which things?
And
Their
the
state?
States.
If they match on their states,
Yeah, they're both done.
Gender,
they have to match, skip gender, definite and indefiniteness. Do they match in their definiteness or indefiniteness? How so?
Because they're in Java.
No, that's not what definiteness means.
Oh, you're right.
There's no al. Good. So they're both indefinite. Okay. What else? They should match in their gender and their number. Okay.
Yeah.
In reality, here's where I start explaining things to add on to the 10 lessons. So if you have a weakness in Mawsuf Sifa, your job is to go first learn Mawsuf Sifa after class, because it'll be integral to understand that before we add on to it. So in general, in Arabic, the rule is when you make a plural word out of a non-human entity, what's the plural word here? Ayyam. Is it a human thing or is it a non-human? When a non-human word is pluralized, we're not gonna pretend that we're gonna pretend that it's still singular. Okay? We're gonna pretend that that word is still singular, and we're also gonna pretend that it's female.
Wait.
You said we're not doing that's only for non.
For non-human words that we make plural, we're gonna pretend that they're singular, even though they're plural. But we're gonna pretend that they're singular, and we're gonna make them pretend that they're female. Are you all following? Yes.
You say ayam, right?
Ayamin.
I don't hear no Tamabuta.
Exactly. We're still gonna pretend it's female. It's just a female word that doesn't have that, just like Zainab.
So it makes fine.
Yes, very good. So, anytime you make any word in Arabic plural that's not human, we're going to pretend that it's still singular, and we're going to now pretend that it's shifted from masculine to feminine. So, kitabun, is that masculine or feminine? Masculine. Now, when we pluralize it, we would say kutubun. Does it end in ta? No, but it's still female, and is it singular or plural? We're gonna it's a plural meaning, but we're gonna treat it like it's a singular word. Why? Don't worry about that.
Oh, but there is a reason.
Yeah, just don't worry about it.
Would it be ayam when Kathira?
Yeah, here it's gonna have ayyam in because qabla. Remember, I mentioned qabla is gonna act as a mudaf. That means that qabla is gonna give the next word the jar state and in kasra. So we're gonna say ayyam in. So, factoring that into mind, the word kathiratin, is it singular?
No, many.
Actually,
Yeah.
or fake.
Is the word kathiratin itself singular or plural?
It refers to plural.
Single.
It's singular. It's singular.
Many. Okay.
Okay, so just don't delve into why. I'm not asking you to think about the meaning. I'm asking you to look at the structure of the word. When we look at the structure of a word, if it has a ta marbuta, it's singular, and if it has an alif ta, it's plural. Like for example, muslimatun, is that singular or plural? Muslimatun. That's singular. That's singular. Muslimatun. Muslimatun. Is that singular or plural? So right now you're looking at the word kathiratun. You don't know what it means, but just looking at the word kathiratun or kathiratin, does it look singular or plural to you?
Singular.
It's singular because it has a round dot. So we're gonna pretend ayyamin is singular, okay, and we're gonna pretend that it's female. And does kathiratin happen to also be singular and female?
Yes.
Yes. Does it also happen to be in the jar state?
Yes.
And does it also happen to be indefinite?
Yes.
So it matches in 4 qualities with the word ayyam.
So the reason why it's feminine is because ayyamin is feminine.
That's right.
So if it wasn't the word ayyamin, it was a different like a
If it was a male thing, like I would say ma'un kathirun, or I would say, anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sifa al-mawsuf.
What is the plural of man?
Miyah.
That would be miyah.
Kathiratun. It would become kathiratun again. Okay?
What's the plural of kathira?
Kathirun. كثيرون. Yeah, كثيرون. Right?
كثار.
No, just كثيرون.
Is chapter 8, that's what you said. Focus
Yes,
on that.
that's right. That's right. Okay, so back to we're gonna be doing a few lines a day, FYI, because there's a lot to learn
Yeah.
in the beginning. So qabla, first and foremost, the word qabla. What does the word qabla end in? What state is it in? The nasab state. Why did you guys learn that a word could be in the nasab state?
Why did we learn?
So we know if it's an object.
Good. If a word would be in the nasab state if it's the object. For example, daraba zaydun khalidan. Khalidan ends in the nasab state because it's the object. We learned that. We also learned that words that come after inna are in the nasab state. Like for example, inna Allah inna Allah alimun. Inna Allah alimun. Indeed, Allah. Here, the word qabla is in the nasab state. It's in the nasab state because of the fact that there are other reasons why things can go in the nasab state. One of those reasons is when something indicates the time, when something indicates the time of an action, it's a different type of maf'ul. We call it a maf'ul fi. When a word indicates time, it will be in the nasab state. Qabla is one of those words. Example, I can say to you, Sallaytu, Sallaytu, which means I prayed, Laylan,
All night.
I prayed at night. I prayed at night. Now the word laylan is not the object. I didn't pray the night. The night isn't actually what I was praying. I was praying salah, right? Sallaytu salata. But the night is the time when I was doing my action, and the time that you do your action is also in the nasab state. We call that maf'ul fihi. We call that maf'ul fihi. Again, this is gonna, you have to understand.
Maf'ul bihi is time.
Yeah, it's a maf'ul. It's a type of word in the nasab state that informs you when an action happens. Okay. Inshallah, I'm going to be annotating the book as we go forward. But in order to do that, I have to set up my my annotations app, my notes app. Are you all still able to read this, or is it too dark?
No, I can read it.
No, you still can read it?
Yeah.
You sure? That fine?
Yes.
Okay. So right now we learned qabla is in what state? And why is it in the nasab state? It's a maf'ul fihi. What is a maf'ul fihi?
It informs when the action happens.
It informs, a word that shows the time of an action is in the nasab state. Okay. Example. I can say, I prayed at night. Laylan would be in the nasab state. I don't know if you guys can even read that.
Yeah.
I'll have to zoom this in somehow. Okay. Ayyamin. Can someone remind me why ayyamin was in the jar state?
It is the mudaf ilayh.
Good. So qabla and its opposite. What's its opposite?
Ba'd.
Good. Its opposite. Ba'da. Both act as mudaf. They don't give an of meaning, but they act like mudaf, which means the word after will be the mudaf ilayh, which means the word after will be in the
It's in the justice.
In the jalsa. Very good. We learned also about the fact that ayyamin kathiratin is a mawsuf sifa type construction. Why does kathiratin happen to be female? Good. So plural words that are not are treated as good. Are treated as singular feminine. And we're going to see that a lot of that. In fact, if you think about it, do you think there are more words in Arabic for humans or more words for non-humans? Non-humans. That means the majority of Arabic plural words are actually treated as female and singular. Does that make sense? Masjidun is masculine, right? Masajid is feminine. So I would say masajidu kabiratun. What does that mean?
Big masjid.
Big,
Big masjid.
not masjid, masajid.
The mosques.
Big masjids or masajid or big mosques, right? Or I would say, I could say to you, any female word as well, like a female word that's non-human, when pluralized, will still be treated as singular feminine. So for example, sajadatun means what? Carpet or rug, right? I would say sajadatun ajibatun. What would that mean?
Weird.
Strange rugs, right? I'm still treating rugs as singular and feminine. Even though its singular version was singular feminine too, its plural version is still singular feminine because it's a non-human plural. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. Kathiratin jiddan. What does that mean?
Very
Good. So jiddan is actually a word in the Arabic language that's used for ta'keed. Used for ta'keed. What is ta'keed? Ta'keed is a way to emphasize. To emphasize it, right? So anytime you see the word jiddan, it will always end into fathas. Why? That's a conversation for later. Yeah.
So it means like very, right? Very.
Yes, it means very. So the word jiddan always ends in the nasab state. Why? Don't ask yet. Inshallah, that's a little bit more.
Is Jiddan used in the Quran?
No. I don't believe so. Okay?
Yeah.
No, it's actually false.
I know it is.
Okay? So, here we have two kathiratins, right? Why do you think that is?
Okay.
Yes, for more emphasis, right? So there's two types of emphasis in Arabic. One is repetition of the exact word itself, and another is emphasizing with a different word. So I could say, for example, Ja'a Uthmanu, Uthmanu, Uthmanu. What does that mean? Uthman came. We're doing repetition of the exact same word. That's one way to emphasize. Or I could say, Ja'a Uthmanu nafsuhu. Uthman himself came. Here I'm emphasizing not by repeating Uthman, but by bringing forth another word that would emphasize the meaning of Uthman coming.
Making it redundant.
It's not redundant. Redundancy is just, it's redundancy is when something doesn't need to happen. Okay, but ta'keed is being brought because somebody still thinks it's important to emphasize. Yeah, so the meaning is the same without it, but it's being brought forth because the author thinks or the speaker thinks it's important to emphasize.
So is that like just saying, so you just say it twice?
Yeah, you
like
can say
Al-Asir, hello, hello.
Yes, you can do that. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know. You do that as well, right?
Yeah, we do, but that's
Yes.
like, yeah.
That's actually a concept from classical Arabic,
Oh, okay.
which is called ta'keed lafzi. It's a way to emphasize using the same lafz, using
Yeah.
the same word again.
Yeah.
Okay?
We say jiddan.
Yes, exactly.
Jiddan.
كثيرة جدا قبل أيام كثيرة كثيرة جدا. Therefore, what does this mean?
Like
Many days ago. Because I got the third many from where? Jiddan. Right? Many days ago.
That's what the
Yes.
It's like emphasizing.
Emphasize. Alright? Let's look at line number 2.
Is Jiddan actually great? Is that what it means?
No, Jiddan is just emphasis, okay?
So it could just be added to anything.
Most things, not everything, okay? كان في قرية رجل مشهور. جدا. كان في قرية رجل مشهور جدا. All right. Okay. Before you try explaining how this sentence translates, we gotta understand the types of words in this sentence itself. Okay? Let me explain. The first word, which is the most dangerous word in this lesson, is the word kana. Okay? Kana is something we haven't touched in the 10 lessons. Slowly over time, you will begin to realize how it works. Because even when I teach you how it works, you'll think, okay, that's not what's happening here. So, kana is used to mean was. It can also mean used to.
Mean what?
Used to. So, for example, I can say, kana Yusufu ya'kulu kathiran. What does that mean?
Used to eat a lot.
Good. When you use kana with the present tense verb, we're going to translate it as used to. Okay? So I can say كان المسلم يتوب إلى الله كثيرا. What does that mean?
Ask Allah for forgiveness.
The Muslim used to habitually ask Allah for forgiveness, seek Allah's repentance.
Wasn't there was a lesson, wasn't there, where like
Kana.
a word that like cancels out?
We did in that kana.
Yeah, we did in that.
We did, but we very briefly learned about this too. All right. Now, kana as a general rule, here's how it works. Kana has two parts. It has an ism and it has a khabar.
Khabar?
A khabar. Okay? It has an ism and it has a khabar. Can someone tell me what is an ism?
Something not like
We learn about what isms are, but let's just translate it right now as one. And we learn what a khabar is. What is a khabar? It's like a predicate. Okay. What kana does is it gives its ism the rafa'at state, and it gives its khabar the nasab state. I gotta try this autocorrect on. I can't type without looking. So it gives its ism the nasab state, it gives its khabar, it gives its ism the rafa'at state, it gives its khabar the nasab state. Let's look at an example in order to understand this better. Kan Allahu ghafuran. Let's just say that. Kan Allahu ghafuran. What does that mean? Literally,
Allah used to.
let's just say was for now.
Was forgiven.
Allah was the forgiver. Okay? The oft forgiving, the all forgiving. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the forgiving. Now if you look at Kana Allahu Ghafuran, which one of those words is the ism of Kana?
Allah.
How do you know? Which one of them is the khabar? Ghafuran. How do you know? The nasab state. If I say Kana Muhammadun Taliban Kaslan. Kana Muhammadun. What's the ism of Kana? So, what does this mean so far? Kana Muhammadun. Muhammad was Taliban Mujtahidan. A hard-working student. Kana Muhammadun Taliban Mujtahidan. What state is Taliban Mujtahidan? The nasab state, because it is the khabar of no, the khabar of Kana. We say the khabar of Kana. Okay?
Would kana come in the beginning usually? Or can it be anywhere?
It can be anywhere.
So
Not anywhere, but it can be in the middle.
So then, so kana,
Would it be Muhammad?
based on where it is, would it change anything, or is that always the rule?
This is always the rule. Okay? So if I say Muhammadun kana maridan, what does that mean?
Muhammad was sick.
Muhammad was sick. We're not going to say used to be sick, okay? So Muhammad was sick. What's the ism of kana in Muhammadun kana maridan?
Muhammad.
That's technically wrong, but from your perspective, it makes sense. It's right from your perspective. Yeah, it's Muhammadun. I get it. I get why you've said that. That's fine for now. Maridan is the what? The khabar of kana, and you know that by its nasab state. Okay. So Muhammadun kana maridan. Yes.
So you can't say Kana Muhammad Marid.
Marid. You can't say marid. You have to give me the right ending. The ending would be the nasab state because it is the khabar or the predicate of kana. So the nasab state would show by fathas. So it's a maridan. Muhammad was sick. Anyhow.
Well, you could say it either or. Muhammad kana maridan or kana Muhammad maridan.
Yes, you can do that. All right, in this sentence, is there anything in the nasab state? Is that in the nasab state?
Yes.
Oh, you said nasab.
Can you guys find a khabar of kana here? Jiddan, I told you, is always in the nasab state anyways. So you guys can't find.
Korean, but it's in Jonathan, it's feet.
Yeah, that's not the khabar. So the khabar here is hidden. Okay? The khabar here is hidden. Let me explain. I can tell you, كان في المسجد رجل. How would you translate that?
كان في المسجد رجل.
كان في المسجد رجل. Okay, a man was in the masjid. What sounds like the predicate in English?
In the masjid.
In the masjid. Okay. So in reality, the sentence is a man was present in the masjid. A man was present. The word present is hidden. And the khabar of kana in this sentence is the word present, which is just cut out from the sentence. That word should be in the nasab state.
The word.
No, fi is not a khabar.
I was about to say.
Because khabars have to be nouns.
I was about to say.
Okay? Yeah. Khabars have to be nouns.
Can you write that down too?
Okay. So what should I write for you? We're gonna see this again and again, while so don't get too caught up in trying to understand all of it. I want you to think conceptually, how does kana work? And then when you see an exception, like why isn't it working like this, you have to like investigate and ask. Okay? In short, when I say a sentence like kana Khalidun fil masjidi, kana Khalidun fil masjidi, in reality that used to be kana Khalidun mawjudan fil masjidi.
Oh, mawjood.
Mawjudan. Why am I saying mawjudan? Because it's the khabar of kana. Does that make sense?
Mawjood means present.
So kana Khalidun mawjudan fil masjid means Khalid was present in the masjid. So can you guys see an ism and a khabar in the sentence? Kana Khalidun mawjudan fil masjid? Can you see an ism and a khabar?
Yes.
What's the ism? What's the khabar? Okay. It's kind of redundant to say Khalid was present in the masjid because Khalid was in the masjid means the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So if we cut out mawjudan, the sentence still makes sense. Okay? So sometimes the important thing is sometimes the khabar of kana is just hidden. Because the sentence makes sense without it. You all understand?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the spark notes. So I can tell you, if you ask me, Man kana maridan? Man kana maridan?
What's it?
Man, who is missing here?
Who was sick, right? Arif, you got it, right? Who was sick, right?
Yeah.
Man kana maridan. If I tell you, Muhammadun kana,
Muhammad was.
What's Muhammad?
Yeah.
Muhammad was, don't you do that in English?
Yeah.
So what have you effectively done?
It's like Muhammad was sick.
Muhammad was sick, but without adding it in there.
Without adding the khabar, because you know the khabar is obvious. I'm not saying Muhammad was healthy.
What's
Was
your
that?
answering question?
Yeah, I'm answering the person who asked me who's sick. Obviously, I'm not saying Muhammad was healthy. I can only be saying Muhammad was sick. Similarly, if I say Khalidun kana fil masjidi, It can only mean Khalid was present. It's not going to mean Khalid was absent, right? Obviously. So the khabar of kana can be hidden, but if it's not hidden, what state is the khabar of kana in? What state is the khabar in if it's not? If it is there, in the nasab state? Okay, following?
Yeah.
You following for
yeah.
sure?
Yeah. So it's like.
By the way, I don't know if you're following. Sometimes I'll go very deep, but I try not to. I try to stay simple.
So it's basically it's also a shorter way to answer something.
And it's not always a question and answer. That's the short version. It's not always going to be a question and answer. Like Yusuf kana fil Masjid.
The Yusuf was.
This is not an answer question, but it's just obvious that the khabar here is present.
So Mawjood is just redundant.
Yeah, Mawjood is redundant. Yes. So here we have kana fi qaryatin rajulun mashhurun jiddan. What is the ism of kana that you guys can find?
رجل مشهور.
Good. Rajulun mashhurun. Why is it rajulun mashhurun? Because this is a murakkab. This is a phrase. What type of phrase is this? Tawsifi. What does that mean? It's a mawsuf and a sifa, right? What's the mawsuf? What's the sifa? Mashhurun. Anyone know mashhurun means?
Famous.
Yes, renowned, famous. So rajulun mashhurun, a famous man. That's our ism. What's the word kana mean? Was. So rajulun mashhurun kana, what does that mean?
The man was famous.
No.
Famous man was.
A famous man was fi qaryatin, in a city or in a village. But jiddan, what does jiddan here mean?
He was very famous.
A very famous man was in a village. Okay? Or in a city. Understand? Everyone following the translation so far?
Yep.
Okay. Alright. Here's where it's gonna get fun. Because the author, as you can tell, he's like, you're gonna learn kana real well. So look at the right pane.
Oh my God! It's all of Kana.
It's all kana. Remember he said in the intro, I'm gonna keep repeating things until you learn. Okay? That's good, right? That's perfect. Alright, the next, it's not it. We keep going. Oh, yeah.
Oh my!
You see? Alright.
I like it.
This is his book. Okay? وَكَانَ اسْمُ. Why are we saying nasmu? Why am I not saying وَكَانَ ismu? It's Hamzatul Wasl. What does Hamzatul Wasl require? Hamzatul Wasl requires that it be skipped. Mandates that it be skipped if there's anything before it. So I can never say ma ismuka. What do I have to say? I have to say masmuka. I know maybe in your language you might say shu ismuk. Right? You see how you're not skipping the hamza? The right thing to say, even in slang, would be shusmuk. Shusmuk, right? So if someone in slang says shusmuk is better than shu ismuk. Because they understand that hamzatul wasl has to be skipped.
Well, can you show me where you seeing that?
Where am I seeing the hamzatul wasl? Remember, if you see an alif that doesn't have a hamza on top of it, it's a hamzatul wasl. Okay, just like the hamza in alif lam. Just like the hamza in alif lam. Am I gonna say hada ar-rajuli or am I gonna say hada ar-rajuli? That's also a hamzatul wasl.
So Hamzatul Wasl is one that doesn't have a Hamza on it. So it's like in the Quran when we have a bunch of Hamzas.
Just a bunch of alifs.
Yeah,
but they don't have hamza on top.
And that's
Those
why
are
you skip. I never knew why you skipped that.
because they're hamzatul wasl.
What's the meaning of connection?
Yes, it's a hamza that facilitates pronunciation, but when it can be connected, it will be connected, and that will skip it. Okay, so وَكَانَ اسْمُ هَذَا الرَّجُلِ آزَرًا. وَكَانَ اسْمُ هَذَا الرَّجُلِ آزَرًا. Before we continue, we have the word kana. That means that you got to start looking for two things. You see kana, what do you got to start looking for?
The khabar is
The khabar and the? No, not the khabar and the rafa. The ism and the khabar. The ism should be in which state? And the khabar should be in which state? What's the ism and khabar of kana in this sentence? Can we find both?
Yeah.
Isn't direction.
No, that's wrong. You're just assuming. You gotta look for the
This
states.
is direction, right?
No, I
No,
don't
it's
see
not
it.
JD. Yeah, you're right. It says
What state is the Ism of Ghana in?
Rafa.
The Rafa'at state. What word is in the Rafa'at state? Ismu. The Khabar of Ghana is in the Nasab state. What is the Khabar of Ghana here? Azara. It ends in Fatha. It ends in Fatha.
Interesting.
Okay.
So that's the ism? That's the
No, that's the.
khabar?
The Khabar is in the Nasab state. Yeah. So
Oh.
Azara is in the Nasab state. So
Azara
it's,
is a name though?
yeah, it's in
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So كان اسم هذا الرجل. اسم هذا الرجل. Before we continue, quick extension to what we learned about mudaf and mudaf ilayh. You guys remember what I taught you about mudaf and mudaf ilayh? What did I teach you?
They have to be next to each other.
They're next to each other.
The mudaf always comes first.
The mudaf comes first. What else
The
do you know?
mudaf can't accept add and it can't accept tanween.
Is there a mudaf in this sentence? Ismu.
With هذا
Ismu. How do you know Ismu was a mudaf? It doesn't have alif lam and it doesn't have tanween. What is the mudaf ilayh? هذا الرجل. What is هذا الرجل? It's a murakkab itself. It's a murakkab of what? Ismul ishara and the mushari ilayh. It's a murakkab ishari. You're probably wondering, this is all going past. All right. So we got to go back. We got to go back. We got to rewind. Okay. All right. He's looking at the notes. There's notes online to this whole thing.
Oh, okay.
No, you didn't. All right. Let's go back. Let's rewind. We learned about Ismul Ishara. Can anyone remind me what an Ismul Ishara is? It's a pointing noun. Like, for example,
Oh.
هذا,
هذه.
هذه, هذاني. What else? هاتاني. هؤلاء.
You had it written on the board.
Okay, very good. Ulahi. Okay, so we learned hada, hadihi, hadani, hatani, haulai, and then for far we learned about 5 more. What were they? Dhalika, tilka, dhanika. Yeah, you're going in the order I taught you, is correct? Dhalika, dhanika, ulaika, tilka, dhanika, ulaika. We learned about 10 ismul isharas. Hada, hadani, هؤلاء هذه هاتان هؤلاء ذلك ذانك أولئك تلك تانك أولئك. If you still only remembered هذا and هذه, that's enough. Okay?
Yeah.
And ذلك and تلك, that's enough for now. What is هذا and هذه? If you recall, when we were learning about murakkabs, what is a murakkab? It's a phrase, it's not a sentence. We learned that if you said هذا الرجل, that.
This is a man.
No, not this is a man.
That.
هذا is not that. Hada's for close.
This man is.
This man. هذا الرجل means this man. How do I say this is a man? هذا رجل. هذا رجل was not a murakkab, it was actually a full sentence. هذا رجل. But the incomplete sentence was هذا الرجل. So if you look at the word in the sentence here, هذا الرجل, is that a sentence or is that a phrase? So what does هذا الرجل mean? This man. So what does ismu هذا الرجل mean?
The name of this man.
The name of this man. So what is the mudaf ilayh here?
This man.
No.
No man.
You said Mudafi Ilayh, right?
Yeah.
Rajuli.
Yeah, Rajuli, right?
Not rajuli. It's the murakkab. It's the incomplete phrase هذا الرجل.
Oh, so.
Oh, wait, the name at the end, right?
No. Look. What was our mudaf, Malik? Ismu. Our mudaf ilayh is the whole phrase هذا الرجل.
That's my
Please.
phone.
His position.
Wait, so
Hey.
off or they?
Can be a phrase.
Oh,
That's
snap.
what we're learning today.
Okay, yeah, I was like, I don't.
A mudaf ilayh can be a phrase. For example, let's just say Kitabu waladin saghirin. What does that mean?
Well, he just broke his small.
No. Think,
Wait, what is it?
Book of the small
Kitabu waladin saghirin.
Book of the small boy.
Not the small boy. Kitabu waladin
The kid's small
saghirin.
book.
I didn't say that.
He's small.
Oh, a small boy.
Waladin saghirin. So what is the mudaf ilayh in Kitabu waladin saghirin? What's the mudaf ilayh? Waladin saghirin, which is also a murakkab. It's a mawsuf and sifa. So your mudaf ilayh can be a phrase.
Interesting.
The phrase here, which is the mudaf ilayh, is what?
No,
Here.
Oh,
هذا الرجل, which means
This man.
this man. So ismu هذا الرجل means the name of this man. Who does the name belong to?
this man.
No, who does it belong to? Listen.
Oh,
Not the man, not just the man, not a man. هذا
This man,
الرجل.
this man,
This man.
So
Very good. Yes.
So okay. So instead of al, like the man, it's this man.
yes.
Yes.
And and is it because it's a mudaf ilayh that it can be that way? So if it was like a mudaf, it couldn't be like had that and then the mudaf, right? It would be
Yes.
had that and then
No, you're overthinking, but you're correct. Just don't think about the mudaf being a murakkab yet. Okay.
But it's had it's because it's the mudaf ilayh is the reason why it's this man instead
Yes.
of the man.
Yes.
So it's another way to refer to as
Yeah, we learned this
That
a
definitely.
long time ago that if you have an ismul ishara, like hada, hadihi, dhalika, tilka, when you have a pointing word, and I'm not blaming you for not remembering this. The whole point is introducing you to the concept, knowing that I'm going to go over it 50, 60, 70 times for it to stick. I'm not lying. Like, wallahi, I'm not lying. Okay, that's what it takes. Okay, you shouldn't feel guilty that you're just like, this is going over your head. It's just through constant exposure that you can be like, okay, this is feeling like deja vu. I'm getting annoyed at this. Stop explaining. I'm not going to forget it anymore. That's what's going to eventually happen. It's not going to happen the second time around. Okay? So, when you have a pointing word like hada or hadihi, pay attention. When you have that pointing word followed by a noun that's indefinite,
correct.
like hada kalbun, that's a sentence. What does that mean?
This is a dog.
Not that dog. Hada is not for that. Dhalika is for that. Hada is for this. So what does hada kalbun mean?
This dog.
No. Hada kalbun is a complete sentence.
This is a dog.
This is a dog.
This
Okay.
has to mean.
Okay. Now, when I say hada or hadihi or dhalika or tilka or haula or ulaika, any of the pointing nouns, and I follow it with an indefinite noun, I get what?
Phrase.
A full sentence.
Full sentence.
Example, هذا كلب means
This is your dog.
Yeah. This is a dog.
this is a dog. Good. When I have a pointing word, what's a pointing word? هذا or هذه or ذلك or تلك. When I have a pointing word followed by a definite word.
No, the phrase.
No, give me a definite version. So how do I say it again? Say it again.
هذا الكلب.
Very good. هذا الكلب. This is no longer a sentence.
Oh, that's
Oh, it's a phrase
This is
now.
a phrase. So what does هذا الكلب mean?
This dog.
This
Not
dog.
this the dog, but rather
This dog.
This
It's
dog.
not telling you it's a dog.
Yes.
I get it.
Oh,
Okay.
if we translate it like that, though, that'll make sense.
Yeah.
This is the dog, but
Yeah,
we know
that
it's a
helps
phrase,
me.
it's not a sentence.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So هذا الرجل means what?
هذا الرجل.
هذا الرجل. Yeah.
It means this man. It's
Yeah.
not this. It's not this is a man.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay. So اسم هذا الرجل means what?
The name of this man.
The name of this man. Okay. That whole thing, ism being our mudaf, هذا. Let's go back. Let's go back. هذا. I wish I could draw here. I'm gonna have the board inshallah moved right here somewhere. because I have a lot to grow. I have a lot of trees that you're going to start liking. They're going to be the breakdown trees where I'm going to grammatically break everything down. So we're going to start our deconstruction from hada. Hada is an ismul ishara. It's used for pointing. Okay? Our second word is ar-rajuli. That's going to be our mushar ilay, the thing that's being pointed to. Our ismul ishara plus our mushar ilay forms a pointing phrase. Okay? Hada ar-rajuli forms a... Guys, repeat what I'm saying.
Hada ar-rajuli
forms a pointing phrase. Hada ar-rajuli. That hada ar-rajuli in this context is gonna form the mudaf ilay.
Correct. That makes sense.
What's the mudaf?
It's
Okay. Ismu is our mudaf. Hada ar-rajuli is our mudaf ilay. So our ismul ishara plus our mushar ilay becomes the mudaf ilay. The mudaf ilay plus the mudaf forms the ism of Ghana.
Okay.
What's the ism of Ghana, therefore? Very good. So ismu hada rajuli, the mudaf plus the mudaf ilay forms what type of phrase? The mudaf and the mudaf ilay.
Oh, it's
A possessive phrase. The possessive phrase forms the ism of Ghana. So the way I'm gonna translate it is the name. You guys help me out.
The
The
name
name of this
This man
was Azam.
Wait, so the ism can be a phrase. Is that what you're saying?
Of Ghana.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be a specific word. It can be a whole.
Yeah, everything can be a phrase in Arabic.
Oh wow.
Everything, almost anything can be a
I think because
phrase.
we're so used to the book.
You know what's even crazier? It can be a whole sentence too. It doesn't even have to be a phrase. That's a very advanced technique. We'll get to that later. So the ism of Ghana doesn't have to be one word. It could be a phrase. In this context, it's multiple phrases. It's a mudaf and a mudaf ilay, and the mudaf ilay is formed of a mushar and a mushar ilay.
I feel like it's making sense in my head, but I'm putting it together.
Yeah, on
Yeah,
paper,
in my head, it's like was, because it translates was the name of the man of the.
that's not a question.
Right, but then.
But then you flip it and you
yeah,
bring the ism
name
first.
of the name was.
Yeah, so what's the ism of Ghana?
The name of the man was.
Good. The name of the man was Az.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you intuitively understand this sentence, which is good.
Yeah.
That will help you, but you have to be able to grammatically do the same process in more complex sentences.
Right.
In order to not make mistakes in the future, because you will.
Right.
Yeah.
You will. You will.
Yeah, because if I follow my rule, I'm gonna make.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay. All right.
That's bad. Nobody listening.
And then
And I promise we'll go over this as a review as well.
And then wa was obviously just and.
Yeah. Why is just a
It's
part
just
of
adding to the from the previous.
Yeah, it's just don't worry about Wafra. Okay. So and the name of this man was Azar. Who was Azar? You guys know Azar?
That's the name of the man.
Yeah, but you know who Azar was really?
Azar?
Yeah,
The father of Prophet Ibrahim.
the father of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam in some narrations, and he was the uncle of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. So whose story is this? Yeah, eventually it'll become the story of Prophet Ibrahim. But right now, we're talking in chapter 1 about who? Ba'i'ul Asnam. The seller of the idols, whose name was Azar. Okay, because we know Azar used to sell idols.
Oh.
Okay, so this is who the story is about. Azar. All right, we're gonna conclude with one.
In 2 sentences, I knew this story, and I'm sitting there in 2 sentences, like, oh, I just found this.
All right, our next line is where we'll conclude. وَكَانَ أَزَرُ يَبِيعُ الْأَصْنَامَ. كَانَ أَزَرُ يَبِيعُ الْأَصْنَامَ. Okay, let me explain something here about the breakdown of this sentence, because this is going to be a little complicated. First and foremost, we see the first word is Ghana. Ghana again requires what? An ism.
And a couple.
Can you guys find the ism?
Yeah.
What is it? How do you know?
Because
It's in the Rafat state. Okay, very good. Do we see something in the Nasab state which can serve as the khabar of kana?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not right. Okay? And I'll explain why. So azar was is how we'll start translating the sentence because we know what the ism of kana is. The ism of kana is azar.
Yeah.
So we'll translate this as azar was. What was azar? Yabi'u
A seller.
Yabi'u is not ba'ir. It's a verb. How do you know it's a verb? The ya in the front, just like yaf'alu, right?
Selling?
Yeah. Yabi'u is a present tense verb.
It's yabio.
Yabi'u, which
That's
means
the yeah. Selling, right?
selling. Yabi'u is the present tense verb for what's the past
Because
tense.
that's what he's doing, right? Like.
So what's the past tense of yabi'u? Ba'a. Very good. Ba'a means he sold. Yabi'u means he is selling. Now when we use kana with the present tense verb, the way we will translate it is not was, but we'll translate it as used to. So what would kana azaru yabi'u al-asnama mean?
As I used to sell statues.
Idols or statues. Now, yabi'u al-asnama, those two words right there. That's not the khabar. Wait. Al-asnam is in what state? Why do you think it could be in the nasab state? It's the object. It's the object of what? Being sold. Yeah, yabi'u. So, yabi'u al-asnam is a whole sentence on itself.
Selling idols.
He sells idols. Okay? He sells idols. That's a sentence. Okay? It's a full sentence. What type of sentence is it? A jumla fi'li. It's a verbal sentence. A sentence that starts with a verb. That whole sentence serves as the khabar of kana. So basically what we've learned is the khabar of kana can be a sentence. In which case, yeah, I said it to him, right? In which case you won't see the nasab state.
Oh no! So we don't see the other.
We don't see the nasab state.
So Asnama has
It has nothing to do with the fact that it's the khabar. Okay, let me explain. Let me explain in a simpler example. We could say, Muhammad
It's like on a TV show.
kana يصلي. محمد كان يصلي. Or كان محمد يصلي.
Muhammad.
What do you guys think that means?
Muhammad was praying.
Muhammad was praying, or it could also mean Muhammad used to pray. Okay, if we look at this simpler sentence, Muhammadun kana yusalli. You guys see kana, but do you see anything in the nasab state?
No.
What do you think is the khabar of kana here? Yusalli, which is a sentence itself.
Right.
Oh, yusalli is a sentence.
Yeah, on its own, because yusalli means he prays.
Oh, I keep forgetting. You're right because I see because you're adding the you.
Yeah, it's a verb, right? It's a verb. So a sentence can be a khabar.
So in
Okay.
the sentence of kana, you can't find a nasab state, but you find another sentence in there.
That's probably the khabar. That's probably. Not always, but probably. It's a good guess, a good starting point. Okay? So this investigative, like, we call this process tarkeeb. It's where we investigate why each word ends and what it ends in. This is the crux of what makes you good at Arabic grammar. It's just practicing. This is not something you'll be good at. I can guarantee you'll not be good at this for a while. But when you go through 1,000 examples, yes, you'll be very good at it.
So then, Sheikh, would like he writes? Would that be a sentence?
Yeah, yaktu is a sentence.
Wow.
I
Okay?
had a question.
Yes.
Previous one, they don't have states.
They-
don't.
Ismul isharas are nouns, but they're always mabni and they can't change. So we can't say hadi You can't put it in the jar state. It's a good question.
Wait, say it again, Joe.
He says, why is it that hada is not in the jar state?
Yeah,
It is in the jar state, but it's a type of noun that can't change.
I see.
Pointing nouns can never be changed. Example, I can't say dhaliki to put in the jar state. Alright? So for example, if I say fi dhalika, you ask me, where's the book? I say fi dhalika. It's in that. I'm pointing at that box, okay? I say fi dhalika. I'm never gonna say fi dhaliki to put it in the jar state. Because dhalika doesn't like change. Hada doesn't like change. Hadihi is never gonna become hadaha. I'm not gonna say darabtu hadaha. If I hit her, I wouldn't say darabtu hadaha or hadiha. It would still be hadihi. So ismul isharas can never change, i.e. they're mabni, which is why we learned in the great overview in our first class what the word mabni means. Because you're gonna come across a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
In your second last line of your notes, you say the khabar of kana can be a sentence.
In which case you won't see the
So when
nasab.
the khabar is a sentence, then you don't see those.
Yeah.
That's going to shot.
That's right.
Like,
Okay.
it's already being shot.
Are you guys enjoying this?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, I like
You learning? Okay. Trust me, if you feel overwhelmed, just welcome to the club.
I might.
I was overwhelmed until we started going through it, and I was like, there's no, like, how we're learning it.
Is this?
Yeah.
I might. Like,
So this is one means of learning Nahu, which is that you go through example after example, you're looking at cases, okay? And eventually you'll begin to recognize patterns. This is why the author put 100 examples of Ghana. So you can look at 100 examples of Ghana and its usage. Yeah.
So,
no, I agree.
so people teach this, but they'll just repetitive.
Yeah, but on the side there'll be some text that they're referring back to.
Oh, so there's like a key, I guess, for this. That
I mean, you're gonna have to look at grammar books.
Yeah.
That will be your key, right? To learn new rules. Right now, I'm just trying to reinforce the rules we've learned in the 10 lessons. Yeah.
You agreed with this.
Yeah, I did. I told them all, inshallah, we're gonna go over them in class tomorrow.
there a belt?
That second question, though, I don't know what came. How
The believer?
explain